Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a problem that seems insurmountable and you're unsure how to navigate your way out? It's a feeling that's all too common, isn't it? It's as if we're in a labyrinth with walls closing in, and despite our best efforts, we just can't seem to find the exit. Often we find ourselves in situations where it feels like we're part of the problem. We feel as if our actions, or lack thereof, have contributed to the issue at hand. It's an uncomfortable feeling, one that can leave us feeling helpless and trapped. And it's a feeling that many of us know all too well. But here's the thing, it's a feeling, not a fact. Let's pause for a moment and consider this. What if we could shift our perspective? What if instead of viewing ourselves as part of the problem, we could see ourselves as part of the solution? It's a simple shift, but one that could have profound implications. Think about it. When we view ourselves as part of the problem, we're stuck. We're part of what's wrong, and it's hard to see a way out. But when we view ourselves as part of the solution, we're empowered. We're part of what's right, and we can take action to make things better. This is the concept of the problem-solution paradox. It's the idea that our perspective on a problem can either trap us or set us free. It's the belief that we have the power to change our situation, no matter how insurmountable it may seem. Yes, problems are a part of life. They're inevitable. But they're also opportunities for growth, for change, for improvement. And when we shift our perspective and see ourselves as part of the solution, we're able to seize these opportunities, we're able to turn obstacles into stepping stones and setbacks into comebacks. So the next time you find yourself feeling like you're part of the problem, remember the problem-solution paradox. Remember that you have the power to change your perspective and become part of the solution. But what if you could flip that script and instead of being a part of the problem, you become a part of the solution? Imagine a young woman named Sarah who found herself in a similar predicament. Sarah was a bright and ambitious college graduate ready to conquer the world. But life, as it often does, had a different plan. She landed a job in a fast-growing tech company, a place where innovation was rapid, but so was the burnout. Sarah found herself in a whirlwind of deadlines, emails, and long nights. The work environment was toxic, with a culture of blame and finger-pointing, and she felt herself getting sucked into it. She began to feel like she was part of the problem. She was reactive instead of proactive, contributing to the chaos instead of bringing order. The more she tried to fit in, the more she felt like a cog in a machine that was part of the problem, not the solution. One day, after a particularly grueling meeting, Sarah decided enough was enough. She had to find a way to be part of the solution. But how? How does one person change the culture of a whole company? Sarah started small. She began by changing her own mindset. Instead of focusing on what was wrong, she started looking for what could be improved. She stopped blaming others and started taking responsibility. Instead of adding to the noise, she began to listen. She became a sounding board for her colleagues, a place where they could vent and brainstorm without fear of judgment or retribution. Next, she began to lead by example. She started arriving earlier, leaving later, and working harder, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. She became the person who would always lend a hand, the one who would stay late to help a struggling teammate, the one who would take the initiative to solve a problem instead of waiting for someone else to do it. And then something amazing happened. People started noticing, her colleagues began to emulate her behavior. The culture of blame slowly began to shift towards a culture of collaboration. The toxic environment started to dissipate, replaced by a sense of camaraderie and teamwork. Sarah's journey was not easy. It took time, patience, and a lot of courage, but she never gave up. She became a beacon of change in a sea of stagnation. And one day she looked around and realized that she was no longer just a part of the problem. She was a vital part of the solution. And in that moment, Sarah realized that she had turned from being part of the problem to becoming part of the solution. So, what made the difference for Sarah? It was a shift in perspective. Imagine you're standing in a room with a large mirror. As you move, your reflection shifts. The view changes depending on where you stand. The same principle applies to our outlook on life and the problems we encounter. Often we find ourselves trapped in a problem, feeling like we're a part of it. We're stuck in the mirror, seeing only one reflection, one perspective. But what if we move? What if we shift our perspective? Suddenly we're no longer part of the problem, we're part of the solution. Let's take an example. Consider a traffic jam. If you're in the car honking your horn, you're part of the problem. But if you choose to ride a bicycle or take public transportation, you become part of the solution. The problem hasn't changed. The traffic is still there, but your perspective has. You've moved from being a contributor to the problem to being a mitigator. Or look at it this way. Imagine a puzzle with thousands of tiny pieces. If you're focusing on just one piece, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. You're part of the problem. But if you step back, see the bigger picture, suddenly the piece fits. You're part of the solution. Remember Sarah? She was struggling with stress and burnout at work. She felt like she was part of the problem, stuck in the mirror. But then she shifted her perspective. She started to see her work as an opportunity to learn and grow, not just a list of tasks to complete. She became a part of the solution, finding ways to manage her workload effectively and help her team do the same. This is the power of perspective. It's not about changing the world around us, but changing how we view it. It's about moving from being a part of the problem to being a part of the solution. With a simple change in perspective, you too can transform from being part of the problem to being the solution. But how can you make that shift in perspective? How can you become part of the solution? Well, it's easier than you might think. Let's break it down into a few actionable steps. Firstly, embrace the power of presence. Live in the here and now. Instead of dwelling on past problems or future fears, focus on what you can do in the present moment. This shift in mindset will allow you to see problems as opportunities for growth and change. Next, cultivate empathy. Try to understand others' perspectives and experiences. This will not only broaden your worldview, but also enable you to approach problems with compassion and understanding. Remember, every problem is an opportunity to connect, to learn, and to grow. Thirdly, take responsibility. Don't wait for someone else to fix the problem. Be proactive. Ask yourself, what can I do to help? Even the smallest actions can have a significant impact. Whether it's picking up litter on your morning walk, volunteering in your local community, or simply listening to a friend who's having a tough day, every positive action contributes to the solution. Fourthly, keep learning. Stay curious. The more knowledge you have, the more equipped you'll be to tackle problems effectively. Read, listen, ask questions, engage in conversations. In the age of information, ignorance is a choice. Finally, don't forget to celebrate progress. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Celebrate your achievements and use them as motivation to keep going. Remember, change doesn't happen overnight, but every effort counts. So there you have it, a roadmap to becoming part of the solution. These steps may seem simple, but their impact can be profound. They can transform not only your perspective, but also your actions, your relationships, and ultimately your world. The choice is yours. Will you be part of the problem or part of the solution? In the end, it all comes down to one simple choice. We've journeyed through the paradox of problem and solution, the stories of change, the power of perspective, and the call to action. All these elements form a complex web, but at the heart of it all lies one simple choice: to be part of the problem or part of the solution. Being part of the solution means embracing change, viewing problems through different lenses, and taking action to make a difference. Remember, challenges are opportunities waiting to be seized. They are not roadblocks, but stepping stones towards progress and betterment. The power of perspective can transform the way you view things, turning problems into possibilities and stumbling blocks into stepping stones. Embrace this power and use it to fuel your journey towards being part of the solution. Remember, you are never just part of the problem. You are always part of the solution.